Welcome to The Explainer. If you're a manager, a team leader, or maybe a management student getting ready to run the show, you know that rolling out new tech is just a massive part of the gig. But today, we're going to look at a real core dilemma of modern workplace technology. We usually deploy software thinking, it's just going to speed up our current processes. But as we're about to uncover, that hardware and software, it doesn't just assist your team's culture, it actively rewrites it.
Okay, let's dive into this with a painfully relatable admission. We have a quote here from a high-level manager at a prestigious private equity firm who is answering emails in bed at 3 in the morning. They said, if you see an email bounce up, you have to check it. It's kind of sick. I mean, it's almost a compulsion, isn't it? We've all been there, glowing screen in hand, sacrificing sleep for just one last inbox refresh. But why does this happen? Why do highly autonomous, incredibly intelligent professionals suddenly find themselves completely captive to a little piece of plastic and glass?
Well, it forces us to ask a really uncomfortable question. Is technology just a tool that you're utilizing, or is the technology actually running your workplace? As a leader, you might think, oh, I'm just rolling out a new communication app to make my team more efficient. But today, I really want to challenge your basic assumptions about who or what is actually in control of your team's workflow.
So here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, the just a tool myth. Second, we'll introduce constitutive entanglement. Third, a case study on Google search. Fourth, a case study on the Crackberry. And finally, managing sociomaterial workplaces. Section 1. The just a tool myth. It's definitely time to rethink our assumptions about workplace tech.
So conventional management thinking usually frames technology as this totally inert object, right? You buy it, you train your people, and it does exactly what it says on the box. But organizational research shows this is a massive oversimplification. Historically, research has fallen into one of two traps. First, there's the technocentric perspective. This assumes technology is exogenous, meaning it's an outside force that's predictable, stable, and simply leverages human action. It basically blames or credits the technology entirely for all business outcomes. Then, on the flip side, we have the human-centered perspective. This focuses entirely on how humans make sense of the tech. But the problem here? Researchers get so focused on the human social dynamics that the actual hardware and software completely vanish from view. The reality is, both of these perspectives are totally incomplete.
Section 2. Enter constitutive entanglement, a true paradigm shift in management. Let's move to and see how this builds into a totally new way of thinking. This paradigm shift was actually introduced by researcher Wanda J. Orlikowski in her brilliant 2007 paper on sociomaterial practices. And this brilliantly illustrates the core of her theory. Notice the continuous loop representing humans and technology dynamically enacting one another. It's not a one-way street where humans just use a tool, and it's not a simple two-way street where the tool just pushes back. It's a continuous, dynamic loop. The social and the material are inextricably linked.
If you're a management student taking notes right now, this is absolutely the crucial upgrade for your leadership toolkit. Constitutive entanglement is the concept that the social and the material are inextricably related. There is literally no social that is not also material, and no material that is not also social. You simply can no longer separate workplace culture from workplace software. Treating your software as your culture, that is the new mandate for effective leadership. Section 3. Case study on Google search. Let's look at how algorithms construct reality. To really grasp this, we're going to step out of the academic clouds and look at an everyday digital practice that literally every single knowledge worker relies on. Think about how a simple Google search works. Step 1, it crawls the internet to index billions of pages. Step 2, the algorithm evaluates backlinks to compute social status and rank. And Step 3, it continually updates those ranks as the web's structure shifts in real time. This means search results are never static. The performance of the search engine is what academics call a temporally emergent sociomaterial assemblage, which I know is a mouthful, but it's really just a fancy way of saying it's a constantly evolving reality made up of both human choices and computer code. It seamlessly combines the software engineering, the physical hardware of the servers, and the social choices of millions of people linking websites together every single day.
Which leads us to a pretty fascinating conclusion. Algorithms don't just search reality, they actually create it. The exact same search issued by a researcher today is going to produce completely different results than if they searched next month. The algorithm provisions what is visible and what is hidden, actively shaping the very boundaries of a user's research. You aren't just using a tool here. You are interacting with a constantly shifting sociomaterial reality.
And, the boundaries of that reality can be highly political. Orlikowski's research highlights this by pointing to the 2006 launch of Google.cn in China, which restricted access to sensitive terms like the 1989 Tiananmen Square protests. Similarly, French and German versions of the site omitted search results that were deemed unlawful by their respective local laws. Now, looking at this purely objectively to understand the mechanism at play, these inscriptions of censorship actively configure the emergent socio-material assemblage. Political boundaries literally become hard-coded right into the material reality of the daily tools we use to understand the world.
Section 4. Case Study on the Crackberry. Unintended Consequences at Plymouth. To see exactly what happens when constitutive entanglement hits corporate communications, we're going to look at a private equity firm called Plymouth. Here's the setup. Plymouth was a small, prestigious firm, and they really prided themselves on work-family balance. So back in the year 2000, to help their busy staff manage their lives, they issued BlackBerry wireless email devices to 27 investment and senior support staff. The intent was purely positive, right? Give people flexibility. But crucially, the devices were materially configured to continually push email via wireless networks directly to the user's hand, 24/7.
The unintended consequences were immediate. Listen to this quote from a junior associate. "I would always still check it, just to know. The idea of just seeing the message flashing and not reading it, I just can't imagine why." The push technology, combined with that iconic blinking red light, immediately began rewriting the baseline behaviors of the staff. Even late at night, when absolutely no response was needed, the material design of the device essentially demanded social engagement.
And it quickly crept into the personal, domestic lives of the support staff as well. A senior support staff member noted, "People will BlackBerry me in the evening. I'm pretty much settled in. My knitting is in my lap, and I just take care of business." This socio-material entanglement completely blurred the boundaries of the traditional workday. The office wasn't a physical place you left at 5 p.m. anymore. It was a glowing device sitting right next to your teacup.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that nobody was immune, not even the bosses. A firm partner actually admitted, "If I don't respond to an email in an hour, people start to wonder what's wrong with Gary. I mean, it's that bad." The most senior partners were entirely trapped by the very expectations this technology enacted. Because everyone knew everyone else had a BlackBerry, the social expectation of immediate availability became permanently fused with the material capability of the device.
Section 5. Managing Socio-Material Workplaces. The reality for modern leaders.
As a manager, you really have to fundamentally change the way you view IT rollouts. So the crucial point is this. Rolling out an app or a new device absolutely changes the social fabric of your team. As we saw at Plymouth, norms of communication are permanently reconfigured. Expectations of 24/7 availability and accountability skyrocket. The boundaries of the traditional workday are entirely redefined. And perhaps most dangerously for leaders, your espoused organizational values, like Plymouth's family-friendly policies, can be inadvertently undermined by the very tools you deploy to support them.
Which leaves us with one final critical thought. Take a look around at the software, the messaging apps, and the devices your organization uses every single day. What socio-material reality is your team enacting right now? Are your tools serving your culture, or is your culture being silently rewritten by your tools? It is definitely time to look closely at those unintended behaviors in your own office. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the tools you use.